concepts that you teach your dog when training a fetch are the same concepts that you will use when you turn around and ask your dog to drive. Right there is when I set my line, so my sheep are looking at me. It has nothing to do, or almost nothing to do, with where the dog is. So the sheep were in a position to come straight to me. I tell him there, and that it's his responsibility to maintain that path. So if the stock veer off, the dog does need to correct that, and if he doesn't, I will ask him to correct it with a command. So right there, I'm setting up a drive. So I set a line. The sheep need to go directly away from him when I set that line. I'm going to send him the other way. So if my sheep are coming a little bit too fast, I can apply some physical pressure to him, and that's what I'm doing here by raising my hands. I may need to walk into him a little bit, or even verbally stop him if he does not check up. The dog's position is just wherever he needs to be to maintain that line. And the handler sets the line with a there. Right there. So the dog's position is not what's important here, it's the stock's position. So when I say their walk, he needs to maintain their path. And so he's having to weave a little bit back and forth to get them all grouped, and then he can continue to walk straight forward. And this is along a fence line. This is the easiest way to start a dog on driving, is just to put him along the fence, so the dog only has to cover the one side. And this is a dog that's very loose-eyed. He doesn't watch the stock very much. He moves them with his movement. And I'm just showing this dog. She is very, very beginner. She's not been introduced to driving yet. She's completely on a line. But this is an Australian Kelpie. And so she's got a different approach. She's got eye. You notice how she's holding the sheep right there with her eye. And then so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call her with me, come by, tell her there. See, she's holding them again. That's why they're not moving. And then she automatically arcs out to cover the heads whenever they do start to move. So this is just a different style of dog. Driving will probably become a lot more natural for her because she's really watching the heads, and you can see she's got a natural arc out as soon as the sheep start to move. See how she arcs her body out to cover and get to the heads and then maintain the path of the sheep. And then this is Chase, so I've got him on a line. I'm just going to use the fence line a little bit. Right there, walk. And he's doing a nice job there. So I just check him up with the line if he gets going too fast. He needs to be in that sweet spot, kind of like by the shoulder where he can see the eye of the sheep, they can see him, but not too far in front that he stops them or changes their direction. So he's doing a great job here. So see, he's off to the side. And that's kind of what you get whenever you start working this along a fence line, is the dog's got to cover the back to push the stock up, and then cover the sides to maintain that position. Once you start driving out in the open off the fence line, that's when the dog will have to cover both sides of the stock, so they can employ more of a wearing behavior where they go back and forth, back and forth. So right here I'm just setting the line for him. And I think he stopped to go to the bathroom. Right there. So you want to put him on the heads to push him back towards the fence. So he's got to be far enough up on these heads to push him towards the fence, but not so far that he stops him. And then he's got to walk in. A lot of times these loose-eyed dogs that don't really stare at the stock really intently, the stock sometimes think that they're not being serious, so they can get a lot closer to the livestock than some of the eye dogs. Here I'm just kind of working him back and forth, kind of with a hold command, telling him, hold him, watch him, watch him. I want to get him keyed up more on the heads there, so I just want to get him watching the stock, kind of more into this driving what we're doing. And then I can start redirecting him. Once he's really into it, then I can direct him more towards the drive. And then here, after we've done driving for a little while, I take the leash off of him and I'm going to send him around. Just kind of reinforce what he already knows. So he's a little bit flat there. See how he would have pushed those sheep away from him if they weren't so broke to come to me. So I just step into his shoulder, fix that, and then tell him there. And so his job now, once I've told him there, is to maintain that path. And so see if he goes too far on the away side, he's going to push these sheep past me. So a drive is just a fetch with the handler in a different position. If he was driving these sheep away from me, he still wouldn't be able to come up too far or go too far behind the butts, because that'll change the direction of the sheep. So this is a fetch, but this is basically would be a drive if he was with me behind him. So I'm just kind of showing you that all these things kind of relate to each other. His ability to take a good square flank and listen to a stop and a there and maintain the path of livestock. It's all the same whether or not you're on the front side or the back side of the livestock.